So, this is where we wanted to tell the story of Everly's birth, and I didn't really feel like writing it all down, so I wanted to video record it because that sounded a lot easier.
A lot easier.
So, it started out the night of the 19th. I was actually talking to my dad that night at about 9 o'clock at night, and we were talking about the fact of like, hey, is Vanessa having any contractions? Nah, she's pretty comfortable right now. I think we're good. Well, that changed.
Dramatically.
Dramatically, yeah.
Yeah, dramatically is the word.
That was about 9 o'clock at night. And then, I don't know. 11:30, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
You kind of thought maybe you were
Around
having
there.
a Braxton Hicks. Wasn't really uncomfortable. I don't know, what were you thinking?
It started getting more uncomfortable at a little bit after 11:30, and then they were getting a little bit more intense, and then I told Benjamin, we gotta go.
Yeah, so it was kind of like maybe Braxton Hicks, and then she got an actual contraction, and it was like, oh no, this is an actual contraction. So that was 12:11 in the morning.
Yep.
Saturday. The first call was actually Friday night. I got that slightly confused. It was a long night. So now we're Saturday morning, 12:11 in the morning. I make my first call trying to get a babysitter. That
did not.
It didn't end up working. We'll go more into that just a little bit, but we tried a couple people that we thought it might work, but that time of morning is a little bit tough to get a hold of people.
Yes.
And the people that we called, I'm sorry that I had to call you at that time of morning, and honestly, I'm kind of glad you didn't pick up, and I will get to that later. So, we tried for, I want to say, at least half an hour trying to get a hold of different people, just not having good success.
And contractions were getting closer.
She's starting to get very uncomfortable. Alright, we can't get a hold of anybody who can come to our house, and at this point, we don't have time. So back to the reason that I'm glad that nobody answered, we started to get ready to go to the hospital with everyone. Now, due to COVID-19, you can't have any additional people in the hospital. You can have the patient, and since it is for a baby, I could be there because I am the parental guardian for the baby.
Yes.
But you can't enter and exit the hospital the same day, so once you enter, that's all that you get for that day. If you leave, you can't come back until the following day. So, when we were going to the hospital, the plan was I was going to drop Vanessa off at a hospital. And the plan actually started with we were going to drop our kids off at our friend's house, Jeremiah and Elisa's house, and then we were thinking we were maybe going to go to Cottonwood. That was the original plan. Well, that got thrown right out the window before we even left our house.
Yep, because my water broke.
I got the kids together,
completely.
And then Vanessa was out in the car. I get out to the car. She's like, my water just broke, and we hadn't even left the driveway yet.
Yep.
So at that point, we had changed our plan. Now we are
going to Prescott Valley.
Rapidly increasing situation, and going at the greatest of speeds through all streets, as safely as could be done.
Yeah.
Safely, I mean not hitting things, but not legally safe. Just safety safe.
Yep.
And we made it to the hospital in record time. And on our way there, it was about 1:06 in the morning.
I'd say probably around there.
We were en route on the 69, just right about Costco area for people who know the area.
And
contractions were so bad. Vanessa was telling me to call 911. Well, I said, well, 911, there's not a whole lot they can do right at this moment. I know what to do. I'm going to call the birthing center at the hospital and let them know that we're coming.
Yep.
So I call the birthing center, hey, we're going to be there real soon, and we're going to need some assistance. Sadly, I don't think that they took that as seriously as I was trying to convey calmly.
I don't think they
Because
did.
I stay relatively calm in this situation.
Which kept me very
Um,
calm in the situation as well.
Yeah, trying to keep
After
her
the
calm.
911.
Anyway, I was kind of calm talking across the phone, and I don't think that increased their need to help us. But anyway, so we get to the hospital at 1:10 in the morning. I know because I called them again, letting them know we were there and there was nobody there.
Yep.
Because they have a locked door, you can't just go inside. Somebody has to let you in. So I called them, let them know we are there. And then I proceeded to find out that I was going to be delivering a baby because Vanessa's telling me it's coming right now. So then I call them again, and I called them as I was delivering the baby, and then I saw a nurse coming towards the door.
Yep, Benjamin.
And so at that point, I just hung up the phone.
Yep.
And checked it in my seat and delivered our baby girl. Well, that phone call was how I placed the time of birth because they asked me if I saw what time it was, and I said, well, I didn't see what time it was, but I did call you right as I was giving birth to our baby girl to make sure that somebody was coming out because I hadn't seen anybody yet. And then once I saw somebody, I just hung up the phone and figured they'd figure it out when they walked outside. So I was holding baby Everly, and then a nurse comes out and she asks Vanessa, can you move? Can you get out of the car? You know, she doesn't even have a wheelchair. Like, I had asked for a wheelchair, and I'm like, well, one, I'm holding the baby right here.
Yeah, the baby's
and
here,
we're gonna need a wheelchair,
out.
And we're gonna need some more assistance. And she said, I don't actually know what she said because I was kind of pumped up. I was holding my little girl.
I think she was saying that, yes, can you get a wheelchair out here, please?
You can look at me when you talk to me.
Yeah.
So
she
anyway,
had a wheelchair out there.
Very, very quickly after that first nurse came out, we had probably 5 nurses outside.
Quite a bit of nurses.
And at that point, they were being very helpful.
Very.
And we got Vanessa and baby inside. The Matthew and Nathan, the boys, were in the back seat of the Durango because we didn't have time to take them anywhere.
So they were able to witness the birth of their baby sisters. That was really nice.
Yeah, from a backseat perspective.
From a backseat perspective.
A very unique perspective.
Yeah.
So
they're very excited.
At this point, we had called Elise, and they were happy to have our kids over, and they had set up some beds, and so Vanessa and baby Everly had gone inside of the hospital, and I took the boys over to our friend's house, and they spent the night there. I went back to the hospital, and then I was going inside the hospital. Now, back to the timing thing.
Yes.
If one of the babysitters was able to come to our house, we would have stayed at our house longer, waiting for somebody to get here, and then we wouldn't have been in the car ready to leave when Vanessa's water broke, and we would have probably had our kid here in the house with an ambulance on our way.
Yes.
So I'm kind of thankful that route didn't happen.
Did not happen, because that would have been a route that we would not want to take.
So, and then the other thing is, if we would have had everything go perfectly as planned, if we would have had somebody at the house, and as soon as we were feeling contractions, we tried to get going down to Cottonwood or something. Cottonwood's an hour and 15 minutes, and from the time that we knew we were having good contractions to the time that I was holding baby Everly in my hands,
we would have had her on the highway.
Exactly, to the minute, 1 hour.
Yep.
From, can you please let me talk?
Sorry, go ahead.
It was from 12:11 in the morning to 1:11 in the morning. So we would probably not have made it all the way to Cottonwood, and we would have been in a more rural area having a baby on the side of the road. So the timing that we weren't able to get a babysitter actually ended up being superb. And then
I have to agree.
The timing of the fact that we ended up having to go to the hospital first instead of second. If we would have gotten there just a few minutes sooner, Vanessa would have gone inside of the hospital, And I would not have been able to go inside of the hospital because I would have the boys with me, and we can't have that many people in the hospital. So I would have missed my daughter's birth if we had gotten there too soon.
Mm-hmm.
If we had gotten there any later, we would have been on the side of the road holding a baby girl trying to figure out what to do.
Yep.
So, even though it was very much so not the way I would have timed to do this, it, in hindsight, was the best timing possible.
Yes.
What I like to refer to as God's timing.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense of everything went perfect. We arrived there, we had the baby there, everybody went inside, baby and mom were happy and healthy,
Yep.
and then I was able to rejoin them inside after a small delay of dropping the kids
And you did
off.
a great job delivering her.
Oh, I thank you. My first time. I get 5-star review if anybody. I'm just kidding.
All the nurses said you did great.
Yeah, so after Vanessa went inside, her nurse helped me get the car a little bit cleaner.
Yep.
And that was something that I was very thankful for. And they actually gave me some sheets and stuff to put over the passenger side of the car, which was very nice until I could get it cleaned out at a later time. And at this point, the car has been cleaned, and
very nice and clean now.
It almost all came out, and the car is perfectly usable.
Yes.
Some people have said, "Are you going to burn the car after this?" No, we're just going to keep using it. Now it's got too much memories built in.
Very too much memories, so you wouldn't get rid of the car now.
So, and then the following morning, I was able to hang out at the hospital all day with baby Everly and Vanessa, and the boys were able to hang out at Jeremiah and Elisa's house with their girls. And then in the evening time, I left the hospital and...
So you could get some sleep.
Yeah, I left the hospital to get some sleep, but also to let Jeremiah and Elise have some sleep, because having 5 kids in their house, I can't imagine was the easiest of. Thank you very much for accepting it. We really needed that.
Very much, Elise and Jeremiah. We really appreciate you guys taking our kids in late at night. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Otherwise, Vanessa would have been in the hospital by herself that night.
Yes.
And then, so I went and got the kids, and we actually... myself and my boys and them and their girls, we went to Mortimer Farms, and on the drive to Mortimer Farms, my kids fell asleep. And so I let them sleep in the car for a couple minutes, and we got out and played there for just a little bit, and Mortimer Farms had a little Christmas thing going on, and then we went back to our house, and finally I had some rest, not in a hospital, which is amazing. And then the next morning we had family friend Barb Epperly come over to watch the boys, and I was able to go back to the hospital now, because now it's a new day. It's a new calendar day, which means I'm allowed to go back in at this point. And then I was able to help a little bit getting packed up and going back home with Mom and baby Everly.
Yep.
So hopefully this story isn't too terribly long-winded, and we sure were looking forward to telling it.
And sharing it with you guys.
And sharing it, because I think it's very unique. A lot of people who, I don't know, maybe the dramatized version of what you see in the movies of having a baby in the car. From my perspective, not scary at all. As far as the actual delivery of the baby. I would say, this is our third kid. So I had been around for the other deliveries. I've known what goes on.
Yep, you knew what to do when the baby was coming, so I had no doubt.
But the scariest part is when you're driving down the road
and you're hearing your wife screaming in
you know that your wife is uncomfortable.
Passenger seat.
You know that you don't want to deliver the baby in the road where you are right now. So you're trying to get to the hospital, and you're doing one of these, how fast can I go down this road safely? Because it was at night and I didn't have any off-road lights or anything that could see too terribly far down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was worried about how fast I could go safely, as well as making a keen awareness to make sure that there were no obstacles like cars or people. But I mean, at 1 in the morning, there was very light traffic, and we were able to make incredible time.
Yes.
And I don't think I will ever make it to the hospital as fast as I did that night. Hopefully never would have to drive
very fast.
again.
like that again, yes.
We have very well documented when we arrived at the hospital. We have on my phone log when I called and where I was when we were midpoint. We don't have an exact time of when I left the house because I didn't call when we left the house. But I'm fairly certain I made it to that hospital in under 15 minutes, and normally it takes a little, about 20-21 minutes to get there.
It takes that
So,
long usually.
Made good time, and I think that the plan that God had was better than the plan that we had.
Yes,
and
definitely.
delivering my baby girl was one of the best things that I've ever been able to do, and is definitely the best thing for 2020.
Yes.
So we're actually doing this recording while it's still 2020 for the next 2 hours and 10 minutes here in Arizona.
Yep, 2 hours.
So thank you very much for making it this long and listening to our long-winded explanation. And anything else you want to put in there?
I don't think so. I think we got everything covered.
All right. Well, enjoy, and
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye.